All
We have
right.
backgrounds this week. You
Yeah.
need to head over to YouTube if you haven't, because we are super, super, super
Yeah.
snazzy looking.
Yeah. It only took us 22 weeks to figure out whatever the whole rest of the world already knew, which is that you can have virtual backgrounds. Why are we such losers? We're like
Yeah.
such technological super nerds, like
So
in the bad way.
I'm sitting in a fairy ring. So if
You,
I disappear halfway through the episode, you know what's happened to me. Although part of me is disappearing already
you
because of
really are. Don't go, Lucy. Don't go.
the arm is going and part of my head is going.
I know, right? And I am sitting on the lawn in front of Ward Hill Castle, which is a photograph that I personally took. It looks amazing.
Our favorite castle in Scotland.
Favorite castle. I can't wait until we have Ginger tell us if it is really haunted. What if she can see and identify the ghost that is living in Ward Hill Castle while we're there? And if you guys don't know who Ginger is,
again.
I will never sleep again either. Ginger, was our very first guest. I don't even know, like 4. It was super early, and we had her on, and she has a ghost named Lee that lives in their house with them. He's like a part of the family, but she's seen a lot of apparitions and just has a lot. She seems to be deeply connected to
she's very intuitive
in general, and she'll be coming with us on our next retreat. And I'm both terrified and excited, but also terrified of what she might have to discover.
Well, I said to her, we are going ghost hunting around this castle together because it is definitely haunted. And Karen is not going to sleep for the whole week out of absolute terror and fear.
No, I'm not. But not only that, but this freaking podcast has me now researching like poltergeists, which is like 8 times more terrifying than just a regular friendly ghost. I'm like, what is happening? I literally detest this stuff, and now it's like the focus of my whole week. I'm like, how did this happen? It's terrifying.
I know. I have to say, I started reading this poltergeist story that I'm going to tell you, and halfway through reading it, I was like, I don't know if I want to be reading this. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit.
Yeah, right? I don't actually like this. And the reason so this came up this week because one of our listeners, Rachel Wise, emailed me this amazing story about this child who I think she's friends with this person, like has known him for 10 years. And this was something that happened to him when he was a teenager, 13, back in the 60s. And it's this like formally written up story about his poltergeist experience. I know. And I actually wanted to read it today, but there was a recording of the whole article, and it's actually 45 minutes long. They'll read it, in this recording a million times better than I could ever read it. So I decided not to share it, but I will share it on our blog. I'll link to the article. And Rachel, good call, because it actually informed today's episode. And it is a frightening, but it's a completely true story. And she was like, look, I wouldn't believe this, but I actually know this guy really well. And like, this is not made up stuff.
Oh my goodness. I really want to listen to that, but not tonight.
No.
Not at bedtime.
And then on my walk this morning, I was like, well, since we're talking about ghosts and poltergeists, I'm just going to go ahead and find a podcast, thinking it would be like a one-off episode that I could listen to. And instead I found a whole series called The Battersea Poltergeist, which is it's put on by BBC. So it's like voice actors. It also has modern day like psychologists on the panel. It's a little bit like the Witches series that I turned you on to. That was also BBC, where it has like, it's basically a paranormal poltergeist cold case. And so it's people from today going back to this 12-year spanned haunting.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that happens in the north of England. So it's called the Battersea Poltergeist. Look at
where did that happen? Because Battersea's in London.
Yeah, it's in England. And I'm literally through like 10 minutes of the first episode. I'm like, I'm already terrified.
I have actually heard of that case, I think.
Oh, you have?
But only briefly. Like I think I maybe listened to another podcast where they told a condensed version of the story. Was it one where Ed and Lorraine Warren came to visit, or am I thinking of a different one? I might be thinking of the Enfield haunting, which is a different one, but that might be made up as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is like a 9-episode whole series, and I'm only like 10 minutes into episode 1. But right off the bat, only for reading part of Rachel's article that she sent me, which by the way is called Zaya's Poltergeist. In this podcast, right off the bat, both of them were saying that poltergeists are attracted to the energy of teenagers.
Yeah. It's about teenagers.
Fuck, I didn't know that. I'm like, that's extra
that.
terrifying.
I know.
Like, I was a teenager and I was already terrified of this stuff. And like,
but you're old now, Karen, so you don't need to worry about it.
But it's so terrifying, anyways. Like, that's like they target kids. Like, what?
I know. I think that a lot of poltergeist, although the story that I've got for you doesn't mention a teenager, but it's so old. I don't know. I actually don't think the word teenager existed when
that's a really good point. You're probably
when
right.
they wrote
in the Middle Ages.
In the Middle Ages, they didn't have teenagers didn't exist back then, did they? It was just like you're 5 and then you start working.
Yeah, or if you're a girl, you're like 12 and then you're married with babies at 13. So gross, but true. Ew. Yeah. So
I don't know whether this one's got teenagers in it or not.
I have a confession before you start reading.
Okay.
Because I'm so afraid of ghosts and poltergeists.
You're not going to listen to me?
My confession is I'm muting every time you talk. No, my confession is other than the fact that it seems like poltergeists are just like super violent and also express themselves physically by like chucking shit around all the time.
Yeah.
Is that my confession is I don't know anything. Is that like the only difference between a ghost and a poltergeist?
I wish you'd said to me before you start reading your story of poltergeist, Lucy, could you come up with a good summary explanation of what a poltergeist is?
Oh, well, that's kind of what I'm saying.
I actually don't. I know. Okay, so I haven't read anything to confirm my little description.
Okay.
So if I've got it wrong, don't come for me.
I'm coming for you.
But yeah, I think poltergeist activity. I know that the word poltergeist is German,
which is why it sounds harsh.
And
poltergeist.
I'm not quite sure what it stands for, but poltergeist is definitely about a ghost that moves things, but in a sort of a violent physical way. And if I Google poltergeist, I'm just going to get something to do with the film, aren't I? And I also read that normally it lasts over a very short period of time. So it kind of escalates, and then suddenly disappears. But that is obviously not the case with the Battersea one, which lasted over years and years and years.
But they said that was really unusual. And that was probably the longest known haunting of all, like in history. So that's not normal.
Yeah. And also you're right in that they do tend to be associated with the presence of teenagers in the house, that energy, they like latch on to that energy. So I just pulled up Wikipedia just to make sure that I'm giving you correct information, because you know that everything's always correct on there.
Yeah, it is.
And this is something that I didn't realize, that poltergeist is actually, the German word means noisy spirit.
Yeah, they says, I'm looking at Merriam-Webster dictionary, which says the German verb poltern means to knock, and Geist is the German word for spirit. So it's literally like a noisy spirit.
So it's noises or things being moved. And also it says on here, Wikipedia, that can also include physical violence against the person. So pinching them, biting them, hitting them, tripping people.
Biting? This biting
Yeah,
ghosts?
I know. Well, actually, the story I'm going to tell you does include some physical violence because we do like to discuss you on this show, and have the odd nice episode of cute little fairy creatures that are actually nice for once, and then generally speaking it's kind of rather gross and scary and
Back
disgusting.
to evil we go.
I know. But it says that they're also capable of I'm reading off Wikipedia, of the movement or levitation of objects.
Yes.
Noises such as knocking on doors. So yeah, that's a poltergeist, which is different from a ghost, which is like seeing things. Or
so I'm trying to, in my head, trying to figure out which one is more scary.
I think the poltergeist.
Seeing, but you don't ever see, does anyone ever see them? They're only
wait until you hear this story.
That was my questions in my head when I was listening to this podcast. I was like,
the impression that I get is that poltergeists tend to be aware of what they're doing, and they're kind of almost doing it on purpose to rile you up and scare you. Whereas a ghost haunting seems to be something that can quite often be almost like that person living out their life in the same place and not being aware that like you're also there. So it's like two different planes of reality,
right?
Or something, you can get
right. They're not interacting on purpose with people. They're just happening to be spotted as they're like passing through. And poltergeists are just assholes, is what it sounds like. They're like giant invisible assholes.
Which actually made me write at the end of my notes, and I hold up to the screen, but our fancy green screen thing's not going to show you.
What did you write?
I wrote, it could be fairies.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we talked about when the brownies are through and they get pissed off, they can turn into bogarts, which are really just poltergeists. That's like a fairy word for poltergeist, I feel like.
Yeah, I almost feel, not that we want people to go here those two are going on about turning everything into fairy encounters yet again, because they're obsessed with fairies, but it isn't fairies.
Only because it is. Don't make my California girl come out. She's coming.
It's not a ghost, it's a fairy. It's not an alien, it's a fairy.
Everything's a fairy, okay? All right. Let's just get one thing straight. All comes back to fairies. Oh my God. Do you think it wasn't going to be a fairy?
How can we go a whole episode of our podcast without saying something was a fairy?
We don't even need to do any more episodes. All of them are the same. Fairies, the end.
I know. But it is though. It's like it's like a thing in the house that causes mischief.
Right. That
stirs things up. That's a little bit evil.
Yes.
That's a fairy.
I know. I'm not going to disagree with you. Although I do have to say, I was because I've taken so I saw Poltergeist, the movie, when I was like 12 or 11, which is
that why you're so scared?
Yes. 1,000,000% scarred me for life. I saw it at a sleepover, and it was not okay. That's like a rated R movie. I should never have been anywhere near that. Plus, I was always susceptible to being afraid of things forever. My parents paid me no mind. They're like, whatever, go back to bed. They never listened or cared that I was terrified. And then on top of it, I saw 1 or 2 movies that literally scarred me for life. But so I've taken a really big, long, how old am I? I'm old, 45 minus 12, whatever.
You're not old.
32-year break but before I can like revisit the topic again without like wanting to throw up or run under my bed.
Are you feeling triggered, kind of?
I just needed like a few decades to chill out. And then now that I'm listening to it, though, I was listening to that podcast, and in the background, when they're talking about things like flying through the air, you know, like whatever, cutlery or pan pots, heavy pots and pans, or an iron, things getting chucked around, and they have all the scary super edited high-end music going in the background. It actually kind of seemed funny. Like if you took away the music and you're like standing in your kitchen and like all your kitchen shit is like flying around, I actually think that's kind of funny.
Because you've watched Ghosts now, and so all you can imagine when you see something moving is a guy with no trousers on, like really trying hard to make something move, and he puts so much effort in, and then the cup moves like 5 millimeters.
And actually, we just started season 3 last night. It came out. So good. They just re-released it. Have you seen season 3 yet?
Yeah, I binged it all in one evening.
Oh God, I was so happy when it came on. We were like, yes, it's so good. I love it so much. And that does help me get over some of my fears.
Ghosts could just be your average person, like me and you. But then what always freaks me out is are they just there like watching me
all the time?
My daily life? Like, yes. Oh, she put a few pounds on when they see me naked in the shower.
That's a new wrinkle. Didn't notice on her left butt cheek. Don't look at my butt.
She's not wearing that outfit today.
Yeah. Oh, sweet Jesus. You gotta throw those jeans away. Yes. I know.
That's just a one too many glasses of wine tonight, Lucy.
Yeah. Well, that's like when we had Ginger on and she was saying like she does think that they're all there all the time.
Oh, see, that freaks me out.
I know. And that some people are more tuned to seeing them for whatever reason. And so you just see these like flashes. But yeah, that's freaking terrifying. And the fact that those poltergeists or whatever, or like they tend to be tutelary spirits where they are stuck in that location for whatever reason.
Yeah, I do feel like poltergeists are different though. They're different to ghosts.
Oh, because they leave.
Well, no, but like ghosts are like, just your average Joe person hanging out in the house with you, maybe trying to move the mug, but failing miserably and only managing to move it by 2 centimeters. Whereas poltergeists, I feel like, are angry, adolescent, angry children's spirits. Maybe that's why they attach themselves to children, because they're like having a tantrum.
Yeah, and they're assholes.
Which actually also makes me think, are they really ghosts? Are they really ghosts of dead people, or are they something else? So,
because that's not terrifying at all. What the hell is that? Oh,
fairies.
Oh, that's true. And then I feel better about it.
I know, because it's a nice word. Imagine your friendly poltergeist with a cute little gossamer outfit.
Yeah.
Butterfly wings.
But then he's like checking things around the kitchen, and then it goes back to being funny again. I think we should re-edit some of these scary movies, and we'll put really funny circus music on in the back. Oh, that can be a little dark too. We should just change the background music. Yeah.
Benny Hill. Benny, did you guys have Benny Hill in your country?
We did, but I did not watch it. But I've definitely heard of him.
This super, super cheesy, really inappropriate 1970s maybe comedy show, and he would always be this sketch where he'd be like on a bike or something, like chasing some woman trying to get her clothes off, and there was that music in the background that while he was going faster and faster. Perfect. Yes. And it's called Benny Hill music. I put Benny in Google, and the first one is Benny Hill. Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly. I want to see it, and I think it will strip away some of the scariness. Maybe it could be funny to have things flying around your kitchen. There's plenty of movies where that's like a funny thing. Yeah. You need to like rewrite the poltergeist script. We do. but maybe not in my house. Thank you very much.
And I won't be editing it because I don't edit anything.
Yeah, we don't edit, just in case you never realized.
That's why we are so bad. And also, my apologies that my microphone was so bad last week. Because my regular Yeti mic was not working. So I thought just using my headphones would be fine. And I'm screaming the whole time. And hopefully I don't sound like I'm screaming the whole time also right now as I'm talking about that, but I'm very embarrassed because I didn't go and correct it. Because one, I don't know how.
The banshee.
Number two, I don't have the time. So I just simply didn't. And I apologize for the sound quality.
Yeah, I don't edit. That's for people that have way more time than us.
Way too much time on their hands, which I have zero. So anyways, oh my God, this new book I got.
Oh yeah. Which you're holding up when we can't see.
My magical background is screwing everything up. Wait, I'm going to do it.
You just look like a castle.
Just in the castle. So it's called The Peat Fire Flame by Alistair Alpin McGregor. Lucy, it is so good. It is so freaking good.
When was it written?
It was published in 1936.
Oh, I love that.
And it is original. It's not like a reprint or anything. Is it
folk tales?
It's all stories. The whole thing is collecting stories. Are you
going to read us one?
And photographs. And oh my gosh, it's like every good story is in here. He was like, I don't want any of these to be lost. So he wrote down they're just amazing stories, one after another. And it's a big, fat, which I can't show you because my virtual background, there it is. Look how big it is. It's big. It's like a good 2.5-inch book. It's awesome. It's so great. So yeah, I am going to read from there, but I just had to shout out because, it was worth every penny. And I want to go back on the website. Oh, and I do have to shout out right now.
Don't buy all their books though, because that shop's not that far from here. And I want to go and visit it. And I'll go in the door and he'll be like, sorry, we don't have any Scottish folklore stories anymore. Some crazy American
keeps buying them all.
So like, I know who that crazy American is.
You're like, damn it, Karen, knock it off. So this is D-Side Books, so dsidebooks.com, but I just want to give them a shout out because their shipping was super fast. They contacted me right after I placed the order to make sure I was okay with the state that it was in, which actually led me to believe that it was not in great shape. And I was like, yeah, I'll take this thing. If you mail me like a shred, I'll be happy. And it's in really good shape, actually. So I'm super pleased, but they also gave me like a handwritten note in with my package. It came in like less than a week. So I just want to shout out to D-Side Books because just their customer service, their everything was really top notch. And actually, I'm going to go on their website and I am going to peruse and see what they have. So they specialize in antiquarium, secondhand, out of print and remainder books, in addition to bestsellers and new Scottish titles. Absolutely, shout out. So good. So
I am going to go and pay them a visit one day very soon and see what they have.
Yes.
Because it's not actually that far from me. It's like an hour and a half, maybe at most, an hour.
Yeah, you definitely need to go. And if you don't go now, you need to take me there when I'm in Scotland. We can go together because that would be amazing just based on this one. I was like, love it. So, all right, I'm really excited to hear your scary story.
Yeah, so we decided to take a sidestep and do this little poltergeist because we had that email about the poltergeist. And then I did a quick Google for poltergeist in Scotland and I found a super cool story. So I'm going to tell you about it. And the thing that I like the most about this is it's from 1695. Whoa. So it's not even like I feel like poltergeists was a 1970s and 80s thing. And
just because of that movie sensationalized
and it's because of that couple, Ed and Lorraine Warren, that they did all those investigations into all those poltergeist happenings, and then that spurred on all those movies, and it's just it's of that era, isn't it? All that kind of exorcisms, and
it
that
came.
I actually didn't think, or had actually been thinking to myself the other day, what did people think about ghosts in the 1600s? Was that a thing? Did people think in the 1600s there are ghosts from 1200 and something? Because we always seem to feel like we've got ghosts from the 1600s or the 1700s nowadays, but surely there are ghosts from the year 350, and there should be ghosts from the year
like the
5000 BC.
Like my
there should
favorite,
be a 5000 BC ghost.
Like my favorite character on Ghosts is the freaking Neanderthal. Robin is my favorite.
I love him.
I want to pause every scene he's in and like just give him a hug. I love him so much. But it makes you think about these things in a way I never did about when
and then I thought, did people in the 1600s or 1700s have ghosts in their castles from previous years? And that was something that I was pondering to myself the other day. And then lo and behold, I came across a poltergeist story from 1695.
Oh, that's super exciting. And I have a really good story to read after that I think you will find very amusing.
And neither of us are going to sleep tonight. We're going to be so freaked out. But the cool thing about this one is it's not like the story was written down in 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
It actually was recounted by a minister of the time from 1695 who was there witnessing all the weird goings on. So it's his like diary or whatever.
Right. Oh, fascinating. And it's like a first person account.
Yeah. And I basically am totally getting 99.9% of my information today off an article of the Scotsman Online. So shout out to them.
Yes, love it.
And this one is called the Galloway Poltergeist, or it's also known as the Haunting at Ringcroft. So Ringcroft was the name of the farm. Okay. And this took place in Galloway, which is Dumfries and Galloway is that southwestern part of Scotland. So if you go southwest from Glasgow, that bit that goes down, that's Dumfries and Galloway.
Oh, thank you for that. You know what I'm going to do just real quick? So over my computer above my head is my Scottish cottage canvas.
Yeah.
Because that's my dream. That's my goal. I think I'm going to order a canvas and hang it next to it, which is a map. So I can visualize all these places when we're recording.
I think it's quite cool to visualize where in Scotland these things.
It's very helpful. That's why I was like, oh, I love knowing exactly where that is.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
So this actually took place at a place called the Ringcroft of Stocking at Auchencairn, and that was in Galloway, this place in Galloway. I actually saw I had to look on YouTube earlier to see if anyone had covered it on YouTube, and nobody had covered this story. Ooh. But what one person had done was they obviously live in that village, Auchencairn, and they'd done a little 5-minute video where they'd put a dash cam on their car and they were driving around the village.
Yeah.
So I watched that to see what it was like, and it was just this super cute little Scottish village.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for setting the scene. That's nice.
But obviously it must have looked very different in the 1600s, and apparently the building where most of this took place isn't standing anymore. It's because, and you'll soon find out. Ooh. I'm gonna give you a little bit of suspense there. So this all happened over the course of several months, but not 12 years like the Battersea one. But it did say in the article that even this was unusual in that it happened over several months, and it wasn't just a quick fire culmination of fury from the scary poltergeist that came and went really quickly. And so it was like there was farms and the area was just farming houses and stuff like that. And over the course of several months, lots of strange things started happening in this farmhouse that belonged to this guy called Andrew Mackey, and he was a local farmer. And he called in the local minister, who was a guy called Alexander Telfair, and he wrote down what happened. But he also had other ministers come in and witness what happened. So there were like more than one person had witnessed what happened here.
Right.
And there was a whole bunch of stuff, and it kind of started off and then escalated. So it started in February of 1695. And the farmer, Andrew Mackey, he woke up one day, and he woke up to discover that the bindings that had tethered his livestock, his cows, had come loose during the night.
So his cows were like meandering around everywhere when he woke up?
Yeah. Now, to me, I was like, oh my God, the fairies are always on about cows, and
they are
cows and milk. So that's why I wrote in big bold letters at the end of this. This sounds like fairies to me.
Right.
So he did the knots up again, but they got loosened again. So every time he did them up, they got loosened. Why he didn't just go to assuming this was in 1695, the fairies, or B, you know, his son or whatever playing a trick on him.
Right.
Some local lads playing a trick. I don't know. But anyway, he was very disturbed by the fact that these ropes that held his cattle up kept getting loosened.
Yeah.
So he moved his animals, but then, and I'm going to quote this because it was kind of a bit weird sounding.
Yeah, go for it.
He woke up the next morning to find that one of his cattle, raised by a taut tether of hair to the back of the house, its feet barely touching the ground.
Ew.
I know.
Ew, it like strung him up. Strung up the big cow.
Up one of the cows.
Oh, that's disgusting and barbaric.
I know. But it's also super weird, isn't it?
Yes, that is super weird. Ugh.
I know.
Like
that bit kind of freaked me out. I was reading this last night at 11 o'clock at night, and then I said, I have to go to bed now.
Yeah, no.
Seriously?
I keep looking at the castle now behind my back and imagining a cow like slinging, slung against the side of the building. That is seriously disturbing.
I know, it's really disturbing. Ugh. So that was in February. In March, there was a whole bunch of stuff happened. So the first thing that happened was the stones started getting thrown, and it just increased in frequency that the stones were getting thrown.
So they were outside when he was noticing things were happening outside.
I haven't got a fucking clue.
Okay. I just don't think you have a lot of stones in your house. And the cows would have been outside as well. So I wonder if it's happening like outside.
Nobody in the Scotsman Online or in the original thing actually said whether this was inside or outside. So I think in that case, this could be wherever we want it to be.
All right. In my head, it's in like an outbuilding.
Yeah,
because a lot of these places have like a barn or something nearby.
A barn, a farm barn, something like that. Okay. Although this is Scotland in the 1600s, I don't think the inside of I don't think the inside of their houses would have been like fancy carpets and flooring, and it's probably a stone floor actually. Right. So it could have easily been stone. True. And if you've ever watched Most Haunted,
which I can't stomach it.
Well, Most Haunted, what always cracks me up about Most Haunted is because I love these ghost hunting shows. I'm totally addicted to watching them. But what always cracks me up is that with each season, it seems to be the season of the ghosts do this thing, and then but they didn't do them in season 1. Season 1 they didn't do them, and they didn't do this thing in season 2, but then suddenly in season 4 all the ghosts start throwing stones, and that's their way of communicating. But none of the ghosts in season 1 and 2 and 3 threw stones. And then in season 4 it's like funny little whiny noises, but the ghosts didn't make whiny noises in season so
many
obviously
questions. Yeah,
well, because it's the crew doing it, that's why they're making it up. But in most haunted, it seems to be their thing that like they'll be in a room and there'll be a stone thrown, and they'll be like, oh my god, it threw a stone at me. So yeah,
it's like Bob from the other room just chucking the stones.
Yeah, I guess the ghost could like have a hoard of stones in their pocket or something, and they're like throwing it. I wonder whether this is where they got the idea, because there's an awful lot of stone throwing. You know how you find it hard to say Scottish cottage?
I've mastered it because I say it once a day. It's my family.
So you're mantra.
So there's no doubt.
I'm finding it hard to say stone throwing.
Stone throwing.
So yeah, so the poltergeist started throwing stones, but apparently the poltergeist decided that the best day to throw stones was a Sunday, and the best time to throw stones was when people were praying.
Oh, like I said, asshole.
Demon.
Yeah.
And the person praying would get stones thrown at them.
Oh, no way.
I know.
They're feisty buggers.
I know. And also really a little bit spooky and scary.
Yeah.
So this just kept on going, and it got worse and worse and worse. By mid-March, the size of the stones had increased and the throwing had increased in intensity.
Ew, God. Wouldn't you just stop praying at that point? Like, is it really necessary to like fight with this demon in your kitchen?
Maybe in 1695 Scotland, if you don't want to be strung up as a witch, maybe you need to pray. I don't know. So the minister, Mr. Telfair, he told about how the stones and several other things were thrown at him. And that night, so he went to visit this house to like see what was happening, and he stayed the night. And then that night it tore off the bedside. I don't know what tore off the bedside. That didn't make any sense to me.
Well,
whether the covers were torn or
being,
and it wrapped upon the chests, but I don't think it means like your body chest.
No, like bureaus.
Yeah, like the wooden chest that you would keep your clothes in, and as if it was wanting to come into the room.
Ugh. No, thank you.
Then, are you ready for this? This is the weirdest thing.
No.
You're not ready. You're going to have nightmares.
Nope.
And I'm going to give you nightmares.
Great. I'm going to need to take another 35 years to recover from this episode.
I know. Because when he was praying, which he shouldn't have done, because like that,
we already know that brings him on. Yeah,
pissing off the ghost. When he was praying, he felt something pressing on his arm, and then when he looked at his arm, he saw a little white hand.
Ew!
And an arm, but it was only an arm from the elbow down, a bit like our green screen.
Ew. It's just like the green screen.
So it was like an elbow
floating, and it was little.
Floating, and it was little.
Ew. That makes it grosser.
I know.
Unless it was a fairy, in which case it's just funny.
I think it's a fairy, don't you?
Yeah, like a trickster fairy.
Trickster fairy.
I have so many questions.
Let's just say poltergeists are trickster fairies.
Okay.
Let's just keep it at that. But that is our theory, and we are sticking to it.
And then I can sleep at night. I'm in.
I know.
Yeah. As long as
so he saw this hand. this little white hand, and I don't think he means white as in like, you know, Caucasian white, which if you're Scottish is white with a huge tinge of pink and red, like me.
But white is also a very fey color.
Yeah,
white
it's
horses,
like, I think
white gowns, white blood. Blood is white. So actually, I think you might be right.
Yeah, and I think he meant white as in like the color.
Yeah,
white, that kind of translucenty, like sallow looking. It then vanished. When he looked, so he's like attached to his arm. It was a hand and an arm. I'm just repeating this several times because if I haven't freaked you out the first time, I want to make sure that I really do.
Go faster.
So that was the only time that he saw something, but apparently a friend of Andrew Mackey, so Andrew Mackey was the owner of the castle. No, not a fucking castle, a little farmer's house. Sorry.
A little croft. Oops,
Sorry for the swearing. Yeah. A little croft. So a friend of Andrew Mackey saw a ghost of a young boy aged about 14 with grey clothes and a bonnet who disappeared.
Oh. He saw this ghost. Or that
ghost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's thinking it could be the same ghost.
Yeah, so the minister was saying that the only physical thing he saw was the hand and the arm, but somebody else in the house saw a ghost of a young boy. Okay. So it could be the same thing.
Right.
So then as March progressed, it even started happening to the neighbors who came to visit the house. So the neighbors that came to visit the house got hit with stones and beaten with wooden posts.
Oh my.
I know. I've got this image in my head of like a wooden post like you would use for a fence, like floating in the air and
just getting whacked. Can you catch it? Can you like catch it as it strikes you and then like play tug of war with the fairy? Or then you would just get splinters because you're like a human and you're getting actually injured.
You're never going to win against them.
That is like beyond terrifying. That's like alien level shit. It's so physical.
They should make a movie out of this.
Yeah, they should.
If they only didn't because it's 1695 and not 1975. Yeah.
It would be scarier though.
I know, because costumes.
I know. Well, my only 3 ingredients for my favorite shows are accents, costumes, and a different time period. So it actually would watch this.
I know.
Even though it would scare the shit out of me.
So Andrew Mackey got a cut on his head and he got scratches on his body that looked like the shape of fingernails.
Oh my God.
Which actually is super interesting because there's loads of people in the modern days in modern times who report getting scratches and it's always three scratches down their back and stuff in these kinds of hauntings.
That reminds me of the Kirkyard and the Greyfriars Kirkyard and some of those.
They get scratches.
See,
I was going to talk about that one, but this one was so interesting. I thought I'm just going to talk about this and we'll talk about the Greyfriars one another week. But that is another poltergeist, isn't it?
Yeah, because that one physically interacts and scratches people.
Yeah, but it is weird that somebody writing in 1695 is speaking about you got scratches down you, but it still happens, which kind of makes me feel like it's more true.
Yeah, I know. That's what makes it so scary. Hello. That's what's so terrifying. Well, that's the thing with this cold case paranormal podcast, right? It's over the course of 12 years, it's not like one or two or three or four or five people this is happening to. It's like all the specialists that come in, they try like, I can't wait to report back. I have to now actually listen to the damn thing, even though it's going to scar me for life.
I'm going to listen to it, but like, I'm not listening to it at bedtime.
Yeah, hell no. First thing in the morning. And that's what they were saying. It was like so many people have, the same, there'll be like 10 people standing in a room and things are whizzing around and crashing to the floor. Like they're not making this up. And it'll be interesting to hear from the specialists, some of the people on the panel, because they are like super skeptics. Like they don't believe in ghosts. You know what I mean? Like,
so what do they think it is then?
Well, that's what I don't know. I'm only 10 minutes
I bet
in.
None of
that's
them
why I have to listen.
Fairies.
No, they probably don't even think about it.
I know, but I bet it is.
They should have just come to ask in the first place.
I know.
We just saved them the trouble.
We've solved the problem.
We'll let them know.
Better than Sherlock. Just call us.
Yeah, we are.
Just call us Sherlock and Dr. Watson.
Case closed. All right. What else you got in there?
Oh, what else happened?
Yeah.
What else happened, you ask?
Oh God.
Some people were dragged up and down the room.
Really?
Yes. And then children, specifically children, were stripped of their bedclothes in the middle of the night and hit.
Oh, Jesus.
I know. It's like violent, isn't it?
Those kids are going to grow up and be just permanently damaged for the rest of their lives.
Karen, they grew up in 1695. I think they grew up permanently damaged anyway.
Life is so hard already.
I know.
That's terrifying.
Like, I think if you're a child in 1695 surrounded by witches, hangings,
and you already
hung, drawn, and quarterings in the village square of a Sunday.
Well, and not only that,
bloody wars.
And you don't have like electricity. So like,
or Wi-Fi. How did they cope without Wi-Fi?
So much more important than electricity. So you're sitting and it's like 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. right in the winter, and it's like already dark. So your dark time lasts forever, and you're just stewing in your own fear. And in the first 10 minutes of that podcast, they have the girl who plays the actress who plays the actual girl at the time, because this poltergeist like was victimizing her, and she was like, fear is like it like eats you alive. And I'm like, oh, that's a happy image, but like it's so intense, it like takes over, so you can't move. Yeah. I'm like, oh my god! But can you imagine?
I know.
You're already in your dirt floor, and like you're just trying to get through the day, and all of a sudden you're stripped naked. Now you're freezing.
No nice food.
Like eat your hard brown bread and hard cheese
with maggots in it
and ale.
The same socks for 5 years without washing.
Oh yeah, there's no washing.
You only get one bath a year.
And it's cold.
It's a miserable life in the 60s.
It really is. And then you throw in some bogeys on top. It's not okay. So what else
you
happened?
mean ghosts, not bogeys that come out of your nose.
Oh, sorry. That's boogers. I know. What's a bogey? Is just a booger? It's Bogart. I'm thinking of a Bogart.
A bogey is the snot that comes out of your nose.
I was not referencing that. My bad.
Although, to be fair, if you were a kid in 1695, you probably did have quite a lot of bogeys.
You're probably right. And kids today also have bogeys.
And kids today have rather a lot of them.
So
I
many
can attest
bogeys.
to that.
So these poor kids were getting stripped, and
they were getting attacked as well. So this minister guy, I can't remember his name.
It's okay. We know what you're talking about. So he's like spending a lot of time there to try to help them figure out.
He's documenting it, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. What I should have done if I'd had more time and I hadn't been like super busy with my open studios at the moment, which is what I'm doing at the moment, which is why I just pulled a story out of the Scotsman.
It's our specialty. Yeah.
I would have tried to find the original source of his writing because I'm sure that it was
I'm gonna look
a
it up in
lot
my
more.
book. What is it called?
The Galloway Poltergeist,
Okay, I'm gonna see if it's in my...
Haunting of Ringcroft. And I'm sure his original source would have had a lot more detail than the quicker version that I've got. But yeah, in April, he invited 2 other ministers to come and witness this.
Check it out.
And their names were Mr. Ewart and Mr. Murdo. And they came from places called Kells and Crossmichael, which must be nearby.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly where Kells is in relation to Galloway, or into the village, but Kells is where the Book of Kells is from, if you've heard of the Book of Kells.
I have not.
It's a really super famous illuminated manuscript that's absolutely beautiful, and it dates from like, I don't know, 700s or something.
Oh shit. Oh, look anyway. Okay.
So they came, and apparently they were getting stones thrown at them. And the biggest stone, it said stones up to, some of them were half a stone in weight. Now,
like is that 10 pounds? Is it a stone 20 pounds?
I think it's about 7 or 8 pounds, something like that.
Way off.
That's big though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. How many pounds are in a stone?
1 stone is equivalent to 14 pounds.
Okay, so 7.
Yeah, 7. That's a really heavy, and that's in line with what I was reading in that story too. It was like these heavy pots and pans. It wasn't like little. It was like, no, it's like
that ghost just got some power to be able to pick up something that's that heavy. So Mr. Ewart, poor Mr. Ewart, got hit on the head, and this is the funniest bit, something pulled his wig off his head.
Oh, so he was a trickster.
Like, I'm gonna show everyone that you're bald underneath that.
Unless it was like a wig, because they wore wigs because they're weirdo 17th century men who they all wore wigs, didn't they?
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's what it was, but I find it funny. Yeah, but I find it funny reading it in the 21st century. It was like a little comedy sketch with the wig, but yeah, I think everyone wore wigs then because
that's just what they did.
Their hair was full of lice and all kinds of stuff, so they would shave their heads and wear wigs, and then they had
gross.
Yeah, I know.
This is what was freaking me out when I was staying in that Savannah hotel that was haunted, because they were saying people heard knocks at the doors and people would get their feet tickled at night.
Oh, that freaks me out.
I know. And that's what I was like, the thought of something have like a physical representation. It's more than just a vision. You're talking about something that has like solid mass to it.
I think some ghosts that knock on things, or like at Wardhill when we heard the footsteps, that's not, I get the impression that's not there's nothing nasty in that. That is just the ghost making noises. Whereas with a poltergeist, it's like they're doing it.
They're like evil, maliciously.
They're doing it to rile you up and get you annoyed and scared.
They're assholes. Yeah, they're doing it on purpose to be malicious. But still, the whole fact that they have like a physical. Why don't scientists, haven't they figured this out yet?
I know. Come on,
you could come up with a coronavirus vaccine in 12 months, but you can't just tell me what is up with the poltergeist. I just feel like this has been around forever. Come on, guys.
I feel like they really should be figuring this.
I feel like someone needs to get on this and give me some answers. All right. I'll do some calling around. I'll see what I can do.
Maybe we'll find out when we're dead. Maybe it's like you die and then you're like, it's like you die and as your spirit leaves your body, it's like, that's what it's all about.
Like, oh, why didn't somebody that's so obvious? Now that we think
I wish
about
I could go back and tell my,
Maybe that's what the poltergeists are trying to do.
Yeah. Maybe they're like, trying to tell their friends.
Dummy, like, and then they like chuck things at you, like, wake up, like it's over here. They're trying to help us the whole time.
I know.
And we're all, oh, you're evil. But really, like, they're trying to actually tell us something.
Well,
but then they're evil.
Yes and no.
What else are they doing?
Because I also read a thing. I'm just going to find it on, there was another website, Scott's Magazine, that was about this Ringcroft Galloway hunting. And it did not mention it in the first article that I read, but in this one, it said that the ghost actually, I'm going to have to come back to that because I can't find that.
Oh, you're fine. No, you finish your story.
The ghost actually said what they were there for, and I can't remember what it is.
Oh,
I know. Can we pause for 2 seconds?
yeah, totally.
So once they heard a voice, and the voice was heard warning all within hearing, and I'm quoting here from Scott's Magazine, that it had been sent to warn the land to repent, and if the land did not repent, it would go to its father and get a commission to return with 100 worse than itself, and would trouble every family in the land. Isn't that super creepy? But I kind of feel like this sounds like a 17th century eco warning, like you better look after the land. It actually still sounds like freaking fairies.
I know when you said that, because they're like, fairies are like wards of the land and of nature.
It's like you need to look after the land.
That's
and if you don't look after the land, then like I'm gonna make it even worse for you.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go get my army and we're all gonna kick your asses.
I know.
Wow, that's actually not scary. That's like interesting, because that's like a very clear, distinct message.
I know.
Did it say who heard that? They said you said it was multiple.
I think
people,
just the people that lived there, or Mr. Talfair, the minister. He was the one writing it all down. And yeah. That's I know. I find that part super interesting.
Yeah, I do too.
Like a little bit creepy, but at the same time, we are horrible to our land. We don't take care of it. Really, we should be. Maybe we're being punished, for being the crappy humans that we are.
Right.
You know, I think humans we've always got this thing that we think that we're the center of the universe and the bee's knees, and we're correct, but actually we're awful.
Oh yeah, we're decimating.
I know.
I always think that around here because the construction is never ending. We moved here, I don't know, a long time ago, 15 years ago, and there has been relentless construction.
Yeah.
Just every single day there's new things are plowed and houses are built every single day, and the deer are like everywhere because their environment is getting just stripped away from them. It's so sad.
I know. The fairies are annoyed with us.
Yeah, as they should be.
Because they're the guardians of the land and we are messing it up.
Yeah, we are. Ooh.
I know.
Sorry.
That's okay. So back to my story.
Yeah.
Apparently then, so up until now we'd had like almost like mischief making, stone throwing.
Yeah.
People being hit, scratched, taking your wig off, all that kind of thing. But in April, it got even worse because it started setting fire.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
So it set fire to the house, and then as the occupants ran out of the house, they got stones thrown at them.
Oh my God.
This poltergeist really loved stones. So in the other article, it says that these were fiery peats. So it's like peat that's on fire, you know, like you would get peat bugs. And these fiery peats were thrown amongst the people.
Oh my God.
I know. And so it said fiery peats were thrown among the people, and in the dawning, when they rose from prayer, the stones poured down on all who were in the house.
That's terrifying.
So terrifying.
But that is in line when I was doing the brownie episode, and we were talking about the brownies who sometimes turned into bogarts, and all of those stories ended with people fleeing from their homes. Like nobody could stay there anymore because they literally got run out of their homes by these nasty, angry fairy spirits.
And it's almost like that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
It's like so similar. I know that most people would go and immediately go on to like poltergeists or demons, but I'm not so sure,
But even remember, even in Ginger's story, they had to move out of that apartment
Yeah.
because it was so bad. Remember? And then
Yeah.
they moved, and their little child was like, thank goodness I don't see the like scary man
Scary
anymore.
person.
And they were like, wow.
I know.
But like this is like a thing. So it definitely has happened over
But
time.
then maybe that's like, if you're a ghost, can you imagine if you die in your house and then
these
6
people
months
come
later
in.
somebody else moves in and you're like, hang on a bloody minute, this is my house. You'd be really annoyed. Suddenly you've got to like, watch people take over your house. And
True. I don't know. The whole thing is fascinating and terrifying.
And you've just got to stand and watch them in the shower.
Yes.
Like a pervert.
That's crazy. So is that how it ends, or is there more?
No, there's a little bit more.
Oh my gosh.
And this bit is super creepy. So they returned to the house the next day after the fire, and they found several small bones and some flesh wrapped up in paper by the door.
What the fuck is that? What is that from? Why would that be there?
It's like serial killer vibes. Like flesh? Like what, human flesh or cattle flesh? What was it? I know. I know.
What?
I know. Both of our voices have gone up a notch because we're freaked out.
That is disgusting.
I know. Ew. So gross.
Oh my God. Ew.
I know. And then it just got worse and worse. There was more fires. The house got set on fire again. And by that point, that was the end of April. So this all started February. So it lasted for 3 months.
That's a long time.
By that point, the fire was so bad that the house collapsed, which I think is why there's no house there anymore.
Right.
And then it stopped by May.
Okay. And I have heard that too, where normally they do just kind of like quick cold turkey.
Just quick cold turkey. It had enough of throwing stones, setting fire to things, and pulling men's wigs off, and it was like out of there.
I wonder though what prompts them to stop after all that. I mean, I guess if you've burnt your own, even as if you're a tutelary spirit and you've destroyed the place that you're connected to yourself, I guess automatically
you've got no house to haunt anymore.
Right. Wonder if they find a new place or they just fan. Oh my God, I have 100 million questions.
I feel like they go off in a strop because they're kind of a little bit teenagery and
in
like
a strop. I don't even know what that means.
In a strop?
Yes, that's not a word I've ever heard of before.
Is it not? We always have a word that we don't know.
I know. A strop, S-T-R-O-P, like stop, but with a random R in there for good measure.
Yeah.
I've never heard that word in my whole life.
It's like if you are like a toddler or a teenager and you have a bit of a tantrum, and then you go off in a strop, so you like turn around and like stomp off.
Right. I would say like go off in like a huff.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing.
Oh my God, I've never heard that before.
Go off in a strop.
I love it. Let me say it if I can remember it. Stop with an R. Got it.
Stop with an R.
Yes.
But not strop. Not storp.
Strope. Stops. Oh wait, no, that's not even the right letter. Forget it. That's fascinating.
No. And then that's when I wrote in capital letters at the end. I think maybe fairies or
I know. And they do, like Catherine Briggs does write in her Bogart chapters saying like they are a form of a poltergeist, the Bogarts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating and terrifying.
I know. Neither of us is going to sleep tonight because of this. So that is the story of the Galloway Poltergeist of 1695.
That was a really good one. That was scary. And I don't ever want to talk about that ever again, but I know we're going to.
It's in the past. I'll just talk about Sonny Bean and murdering cannibals.
Yeah, because that's more lighthearted.
I know.
Do you want me to? I was gonna close with a really short like it's kind of like an amusing little ghost story.
Yes, please.
From this, maybe close the chapter on this ghost. This is from the Peat Fire Flame book.
Oh, yeah, I want to hear it.
There's 2 tales of ghosts that are from Breadalbane. Have you ever heard of Breadalbane, Scotland?
No,
It's
how
from
do you spell it?
The shores of Loch Tay. Breadalbane is literally like bread, but then you add on Albain, Breadalbane.
Oh, never heard of it. I'm sure you don't actually pronounce it that way, but we don't care. It's okay.
Oh, thanks. Just rub it right into my American stupid dumbness. Sure it isn't. We all know I can't do it.
We all know you're pronouncing it wrong, Karen.
No, thanks. Thanks for rubbing it in. Oh, so this is funny. So there's one tale, which is super cute. So the second one is also kind of amusing. So it says, also connected with Breadalbane. Thank you, Lucy. Is the folk tale of a ghost that attempted to lie in its full length in an open coffin in order to demonstrate to those concerned that the coffin was too short for the corpse for which it was intended. Isn't that so funny? It says,
I'm not going to fit in. You need to make it bigger.
Yeah. So it says there had died at one of the townships overlooking Loch Tay a man whose body the local joiner had measured for kisting. And I'd never heard of the word kisting. That's like a coffin fitting.
I hadn't actually heard that word.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
It's like a Scottish word for chest.
Okay. So it's called measured for kisting. So Kisting. Yeah, and I was like, look at that.
Yeah, I didn't know that was what it was called for coffin fitting, but not a coughing fit like I have because of my allergies. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Kist is the Scottish word for a chest.
Okay.
Like a wooden chest.
Yeah.
So at the end of your bed, you would have a kist.
Interesting. See, I'd never.
In your bed, you might have a kiss.
Yeah.
And at the end of your bed, you've got a kiss.
You would call that like a trunk or like a whatever. So I'd never heard, actually, that was another new word I'd never come across. Yeah. So I love it. So on the evening of the day on which the coffin was completed, a footsore and weary beggar came to the joiner's door seeking a night's shelter. So the joiner is the guy who's building the coffin. The joiner's wife informed him that although there was no room available in the house, she had no objection to his spending the night in her husband's workshop, so long as he didn't mind the empty coffin lying on the bench. The wood shavings, she observed, would make a soft, clean bed for him. The beggar was too weary that night to have any qualms about accepting such an offer on account of an empty coffin, and scarcely a moment was he on the bed of his shavings when he noticed a spectra shrouded in white climb up on the bench and attempt to stretch itself out in the coffin that obviously was too short for it. The spectra then vanished, and the beggar decided to make the best of his shelter until morning. So he he's like, well, yeah, that looks too short. And then he rolled over and went back to sleep. So the next morning he says, that coffin is too short for the body you want to put in it, said the beggar to the joiner on the following morning. Why that? Inquired the joiner. Well, last night, continued the beggar, I saw the ghost of the dead man trying to get into it, and he couldn't.
Love that.
The joiner laughed at the vagrant to whom he and his wife had given a night's roofing, but as a matter of interest, he thought he would just measure the corpse again and compare its length with that of the empty coffin. And sure enough, as the beggar had indicated, the coffin had to be enlarged.
No way. What a helpful little ghost that was.
Oh, isn't that so cute?
I know.
So this whole gigantic book is just riddled with a million stories like that.
I love it.
I know.
My body's not going to fit in this. You should have made it bigger.
I know.
Could he not have curled his knees up a little bit or something?
Well, I mean, it's a dead guy. He actually really did have to fit in there. If he bent his knees, he couldn't put the top on it.
Could you not?
Just cut him off at the knees and put the lower legs next to the other part of his leg.
Just cut the feet off and stick them next to it. He's dead.
But you can't, because coffins taper at the bottom, so they run out of room.
I'm sure you could.
Just nestle him in under his armpits, maybe. Exactly. in his pits.
Or cut his head off and stick his head under his arm.
Right? Easy fix, dumbass.
Why have to go to all that work of undoing
No.
all that wood and then making it longer? Because actually,
He has all the tools too. He could chop them up in like 2 seconds.
I
He's
know, because
literally
if
a
you-
carpenter, basically.
if you need to make a coffin bigger, you're kind of having to start again.
That's true. Because how do you lengthen
Yeah,
wood
I
that's
would have
already
just
been
chopped.
cut?
I would have
Yeah.
just chopped the body up a bit.
Amateur
He's
coffee.
dead. No one cares.
Except his ghost is walking around like, this coffin is too small.
You know what? If I was dead, I don't think I'd care by then. I'd be like, see you, body. I'm off to haunt somebody.
I know. I don't want to be haunting anyone. I don't want to be stuck to some house. I just want to just be gone. Just forever. Shut up. Oh, that's a nice way to end this.
You
podcast.
don't want to be like in some like cool like your ideal world, or
I
like
just might get bored somewhere and then I can't leave. I get bored all the
Yeah.
time.
like
I'd
in the
be
Good Place. Can you imagine if you ended up in like, have you ever watched that show?
The Good Place?
Yeah.
No. Oh, real quick, thinking of show recommendations. Did you see on Instagram I posted Sean's recommendations to you?
I did.
That's for you.
Thank you.
Yes.
And there are actually a few on there that I haven't watched
Oh,
yet.
good. I figured there'd be a ton that you had, but yeah.
So I am going to work my way through the ones. I can't
Okay.
remember what they are anymore.
well,
I'm
that's
gonna
why I
have to-
posted on Instagram so you could go back because
Yeah.
that's not list is never going away. So
But I'm going to work my way through the ones that I haven't watched yet for
okay.
sure. Yeah. But The Good Place is like this comedy about the afterlife.
Oh,
It's really good. It's about I don't want to
down.
I can't tell you too much of the plot because it will
Okay.
give you spoilers.
okay. Don't do
Because
that.
there's a little bit of in the first season, you're led to believe something for
Okay. Don't wreck it.
the whole of the first season, and then there's a cliffhanger at the end.
Oh,
that
I
I'm not
think
gonna-
we started watching. I think we started watching. Yes,
And
we
it's-
did
and
start
it's about
watching this.
When
Yes,
people
yes,
die
yes.
and they
Yes.
go to heaven,
We did see
or
this. Yep.
the
I
Good
just
Place.
told you I'm bad
But
with names.
actually, there are 3 people who were actually a little bit naughty in their real life, or
Oh.
didn't deserve to go to the Good Place, who end up in the Good Place, and they have to keep quiet about the fact that they shouldn't be there.
Yes, I remember. I love Kristen Bell. She's my
Yeah.
favorite. She's so cool.
So you wouldn't want to end up in a place where you can always have like your favorite flavor of ice cream and like, no, you
That's
just want to be.
I would. I don't know. I'm just afraid of being unstuck somewhere and being mad about it and then having to turn into a poltergeist because I'm pissed off and have to like
I
torture
know.
people to like amuse myself.
Can you imagine if you were like stuck in a house and you couldn't leave and you were there for hundreds of years
Yeah. Nope.
in the same outfit?
That's what I mean. That's why I wouldn't want to do it. Now I don't care about clothes, so that actually wouldn't bother me. But I would,
I think I'd want to make sure that I died in a really cool
Something-
outfit.
yeah, or like really comfortable. I want like
Yeah.
leggings and like a hoodie,
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be stuck in
and like Ugg boots, and just like super cozy.
like the ghost in I'm starting to sound like a right TV addict
Yeah, you
here.
are.
The ghost in is it Being Human? The one with the vampire, the ghost and the werewolf.
I don't know. I haven't heard. I don't.
Oh,
know the
that's
names of
another recommendation for
anything.
you, Karen
God, you're
Campbell.
so good. What's it called?
Being Human. I think it was called Being Human. But you have to watch the UK version, not the
Okay.
American version, because the UK version has Aidan Turner as the vampire, and he is sexy.
I fucking love Aidan
I know.
Turner. Can I tell you that when I started watching Poldark, the first thing
Oh.
I did was look to see if I could get a cardboard cutout of him to go
I
with
know.
my Jamie cardboard cutout, because I was like, and then I was like, I just need to collect all the hot old timey movie
I
stuff.
know.
I love him.
Aidan
He's-
Turner as Poldark when he's like working in the fields with
Oh,
his
yeah.
shirt off.
I just
Now
he's-
everyone's gonna think we're kind of a little bit gross old ladies perving over men.
I
on
do
TV.
not care. He is smoking hot with his little
I know.
triangle freaking revolutionary hat on. He's super sexy with his
Yes.
tri-point old-timey hat. I love everything about that whole
I know.
situation. The only thing I didn't like about Poldark was it's so painstakingly PG.
Yeah.
Like it pains me how PG it was. I'm like, you guys, like I think when they kiss, like Demelza doesn't even like purse her lips. It's like the most it's like he's kissing his sister. It's so cringy. I'm like, oh my
I
God.
love her
Like,
though. I thought she
properly
was
make
so
out.
beautiful.
Oh yeah. Oh God, she's amazing. But it was just so like their relationship was so asexual.
I know.
Because the show didn't allow them to like be
Yeah.
racy, and it would drive me like crazy.
And it was also a little bit depressing in places.
Yeah. Oh, for
because
sure.
everything just keeps going wrong.
I know, like horribly wrong. I tried to read the book. Sean bought me the whole series last Christmas. It's like I didn't get very many things. That was one of it. I just don't like. I love books and stop. And so he bought me this series. I couldn't get into the series. I was really sad. I was really excited to like devour it, but the TV show also was so good. It kind of ruined me for the books. Yeah. The TV series was amazing.
You need to watch Being Human because Aidan Turner is a vampire.
I'm all in. He's so
and there
hot.
is a ghost, and she is basically wearing like a comfy t-shirt and Ugg boots and leggings.
Okay.
Like she wears that outfit in every single episode because that's what she died in. And yeah, she's got her comfy outfit for being a ghost.
I'm all about it. I want a big cozy sweatshirt, cozy hoodie, leggings, boots, good to go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, now that we've dyed in our favorite outfits, we can sign up for another week, and we'll come and do. I do know what I'm doing next week, though. Do you want me to tell you?
Do.
Let me tell you. I'm covering the evil eye.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
There's quite a bit on it. Yeah.
And something I don't know that much about.
Oh, good.
And then the week after, I am definitely going to do the Glass Chick.
Yes.
I was going to do it this week, but I just didn't have enough time to research, which is why we did a quickie Poltergeist story, which actually was fine.
It was so great.
Yeah. So,
good. Yeah. Lots of good stuff coming up, you guys. So make sure you subscribe and do all the things. And thank you for everyone who has been writing to us with their cool stories. Because Rachel, your submission is what inspired us to do this whole entire episode. So thank you. And I just appreciate all your recommendations.
And also, I found a way of reading our reviews so far because I'm in the UK, my Apple Podcast app doesn't show me the American reviews, and we don't really have a lot from here in the UK, but we've got more from the United States. And it was so lovely to read them. There were so many nice comments. So if you feel like leaving us a review, that would be super appreciated.
We would really appreciate it. Yeah, really. And also inspires us to keep going because we don't make a red cent off of the podcast. It does take a lot of time and energy. We love it. And all we just want is to know that people are loving it too. And then it gives us like a reason to kind of work it in our crazy lives. But we really do it. And it's very inspiring and we appreciate it super much. So thank you guys. And if you do have any stories of your own, just head over to onescott1not.com and let us know. You can we can reach us through our website right there. So super easy. But thank you guys, and we'll see
you so much.
See you next week.
Bye.